Hi guys and welcome to my channel. A special welcome back to my subscribers. I'm the artist Low and I live close to Cape Town on the west coast of South Africa. So in my studio I'm busy with a large piece in oil paint. I don't want to talk about the piece now, but the style I'm using is one where I bring in elements that remind of Klimt's work. If you've been following me, you will know that you could see the influence of Klimpt in my work. So I just want to talk about a piece that I did quite a few years ago and was bought by one of our Springbokke, and the piece was called Beyond Pleasure. So this painting was quite controversial. Strangers asked me why three women, and I've heard from people that I paint orgies and stuff like that. So I don't really mind what people think of my work or how they interpret it, except when the original actually has a deeper meaning. Like in this case, it was called Beyond Pleasure, and the title plays on the work that Freud did in his later years that was called Beyond the Pleasure Principle. His theory was that most of what we do are motivated by us seeking pleasure or immediate gratification of the id, which is our basic instincts basically. So in this paper, Beyond the Pleasure Principle, he was theorizing that there are other motivators that are even stronger than pleasure, like death specifically. So I played on the title of his work actually to give the viewer a hint that the painting was about the id, the ego and the alter ego. So that's why the three figures looks the same. And I put the main figure, which represents the id, in almost a fetal position, sleeping, and the other two figures more protective in the background, because as we know, the ego and the alter ego actually protects us from seeking that immediate gratification. So the question to me is what lies beyond that? I don't necessarily agree with Freud's interpretation, but there's definitely drives that are very strong, and some of it we can't even put to words. So I actually wrote a poem about that which we seek, and I called the poem Higher. If you know me for a long time, you might have read it or seen it at an exhibition before, because it's one of my personal favorites, so I've published it more than once. Higher, higher than the dance of the hungry flesh, than the breaking of bounds, than the finding of the self, than carnal desire, than the birth of art, than the love for others, than the godly path. Higher than self-sacrifice, than service divine, higher than dreams or wishes for joy, higher than the torture of the sensitive soul or the satisfying answer to the body's call, higher than the creatures that crawl the earth or lurk in the blue of the underwater coves, higher than the black wings of angels by day or the sighs of spirits by night, higher still than the blossom of my heart hanging in a windstorm. Higher, higher, always higher still. So I also made another artwork where I used a high resolution photo that I took of my painting and combined it with another photo, self-portrait. That was part of an exhibition that was held a few years back at Youngblood in Cape Town, and the exhibition was to make a video about that still. It was part of the group exhibition. We were 9 women doing this together, and the title was Expressions of Self, and my series specifically was Exposure. But that's for another video, but I'm going to put the picture here. The first print sold, but there are still 6 other copies left. That's limited to only 7 prints. So thanks for listening. I hope you have an amazing week. Please remember, if you have questions, to ask them. You can also send me a private message if you wanted to speak about something specifically. I will gladly do it. See you next week. Goodbye.